Hello YouTube, I'm Sir Derps. I've been a Roblox developer for a couple years now, and this year I was invited to attend RDC. You should go watch my vlog. The event really inspired me, so as soon as I got home, I started planning a new game. But there was a problem. I don't have any good game ideas. So I just started thinking of random things to make into a game. And I remember I went to a pizza place at RDC, and it gave me the idea to make a game where you run a pizza place on a New York street. And I thought, yeah, sure, that sounds good. So today, we're making a pizza place game. So to start off with, we're going to need a way to build out your pizza place. And for this, I'm going to use the open source Tunicus placement module, specifically Glitchified's fork of it. His version has some extra configurations and features, so this will carry a lot of the placement system. I built some, honestly, really amazing items. I mean, look at that chair. Wow. I mean, can we just take a minute? Wow. Anyway, I built some items and then I created this inventory UI which shows all your items and you can click on one to start a placing mode. I also created this placement UI that tells you what to press, and it even supports mobile and console already. Then I made it so you can click on items, letting you pick them up, move them, or sell them. It's also really clean. I mean, look at how that opens up. Wow. I cooked, guys. I cooked. Next up, I began working on the shop so I could buy items to test with. I decided the shop in this game is going to be a rotating shop where the furniture selection is constantly rotating, but we want specific item types to always be available, like chairs and tables. So I made it so I can create these nodes which let me specify an item type and a rarity tier. This way, it'll always guarantee that the required items will be in the shop. Then I created a basic shop UI and voila, we can buy items. Now on to the most important part, the NPCs. The NPCs will need to come into the shop, place an order, sit at a table, eat their food, pay, and then leave the restaurant. So to start, I made it so I can generate a grid based on the items you have placed down, which NPCs can use to pathfind. This way they can walk around items and know where to go. Then I found some code online which uses the breadth first search algorithm, which I can use to pathfind to any destination I want on the plot. So now the NPCs can walk around the plot. And look at that little guy go. Yeah, come on, you can do it, buddy. Man, that guy is so cool. I also made it so if someone tries to block their NPCs in with items so they can't move around, the NPCs will just go through the items. Now we need to get the NPCs to sit at a table. So I created a loop where I check all the placed items on the plot. If we find an open table, then we get every item around the table, and if any of those items are chairs, we check each chair's direction. If it's facing towards the table, then it's a valid chair. Then we take all the valid chairs and we spawn an NPC for each chair. Then the NPCs enter the building and walk to the chairs and sit down. Haha, alright, yeah, woo, we did it. Man, that was easy. Now we need to get the NPCs to order their meal. So I built a very good cash register model and made it so the first NPC of a group will queue up in line at the register. Then you can interact with the register where the NPC will then ask for an order. We don't really have a menu yet, so it's just order. I was really inspired by work at a pizza place here, so I made it so you get 4 dialogue options to choose from. One of them is the correct response, and the other 3 are random lines to upset the customer. If you pick the right option, they respond happily and go back to their table. If you pick the wrong option, they get mad and their whole table leaves with them. I also made it so if you take too long, they get mad and leave anyway. Dude 1 recently open sourced his famous pizza place sounds, like the whoa and yay and so I thought it'd be pretty funny to use those. So now the customers will play animations and sounds when you talk to them. They wave, they get all excited, or angry, or just confused. Now, around this time, something happened that was going to change everything. Pets Go released and became my newest gambling addiction. Now, in Pets Go, you have a tech tree where you unlock upgrades. And now all I see is people copying this tech tree. It's becoming the new meta. So I thought, why don't I just copy that too? So that's what I'm gonna do. Also around this time, I started streaming the game's development on Twitch, which you should go follow and catch some of my streams, or something really bad will happen to you. Nah, I'm just kidding. Anyway, first off, I'm gonna need to create the tech tree visuals. In Pets Go, the tech tree is actually not a UI, but a bunch of parts that your camera is looking down on. So first I found a hexagon model, gave it a neon outline, and put some UI on it. Next I made it so you can enter the tech tree, and you can drag your camera around with the mouse and zoom in and out with the scroll wheel. Then I borrowed this code from one of my buddies that can place the hexagons around each other. It basically lets you pick a side of the previous hexagon to position the new one in. Now the hexagons are being placed around, but in Pets Go, most of the upgrades are hidden and appear as you progress throughout the tree. So I made it so now you can only see one upgrade ahead of whatever upgrades you own, and one further upgrade ahead is a question mark. The rest are just hidden. Then it was time to add actually buying upgrades. I'm using surface GUIs for the UI on the hexagons, so I can just put a button in the surface GUI and detect when it's clicked. And if we have enough money, it'll buy the upgrade. I created a little animation where the upgrade grows and then smashes down. And I also added a random particle that I found, which I'll probably change later on. Once you buy an upgrade, it'll unlock the next upgrade so you can continue down the tech tree. Another thing Pets Go has is sub-trees, where you can open a new tech tree from an upgrade that you purchased. So I added that, and I also added this animation where all the hexagons shrink away and the new ones grow. In the sub-menu, there's an exit button which lets you go back to the previous menu you were in. Now, besides the upgrades actually functioning, we've pretty much completed the tech tree. But honestly, as I was developing this, I was struggling to come up with upgrade ideas. I mean, I can definitely make some upgrades, but it felt like something was missing. So, since I was already copying Pets Go so much, I thought I'd just take it a step further and make the game an RNG game. I decided to do this because I didn't think the game would do well as just Restaurant Tycoon but with pizza, and I think RNG Restaurant Tycoon is a pretty unique idea. So, to get started on revamping the game, I need a way to actually roll for the items. Now honestly, I just looked up some code online and I'm not entirely sure what's going on, but I know it's working and it satisfies my needs, so that's all I care about. Now to set an item's rarity, I just use the number that would be the chance. So 2 is a 1 in 2, 5 is 1 in 5, 7 billion is 1 in 7 billion. Then I made this button that when you press, will fire a remote to the server, which will draw a random item. Then it sends the drawn item back to the client, and I play this little animation where I draw a couple of items before drawing the chosen item. Then, since the game is an RNG game now, I took out the shop and item selling, since items aren't going to be worth any money. And honestly, this shop UI was really ugly. Like, what is this, bro? This is some ass. Then I made our first upgrade for the tech tree, unlock dice. So when you first start out the game, you're not going to have the ability to roll for items. But once you unlock this upgrade, the dice UI will show and you can begin rolling. Now it's time to get back to the actual restaurant stuff. And the first thing we need to do is to get a menu for the restaurant that customers can order from. So first I made this function which returns your menu by looking through any upgrades you have. This is so I can easily create upgrades which give you menu items. Then I added a pepperoni pizza upgrade which unlocks the pepperoni pizza for your menu. Now we can finally get NPCs to actually ask for an order. So whenever we spawn in a group of NPCs, I get our menu and randomly pick a menu item for them to order. Then when they get to the register and ask for their order, we replace the order text with the menu item's name. Now we need a way for the orders to be stored. So we need to make an order holder station. I'm not sure what this is called. Anyway, now when we spawn in NPCs, on top of checking for open tables and registers, we also look for open order holders. Then, if we pick the correct option at the register, the order will be added to the order holder. And then I made it so you can pick up an order. Now, it's time to get to the cooking process. So first I made a fridge item, which you can collect ingredients from. Then I made a workstation where you would be preparing the pizza, if I could model or animate. Finally, I added an oven, which you can cook the pizzas in. Again, no animations yet, so just pretend I'm cooking a pizza. All of this is basically done using attributes. When we collect an order, I add an order attribute to the player. I also add an NPC attribute to the player so I know which NPC the order belongs to. Then when we interact with the fridge, I add an ingredients attribute to the player, which the workstation requires. Then after using the workstation, we remove the ingredients attribute and add an uncooked attribute. Finally, interacting with the oven will remove the uncooked attribute and add a cooked attribute. All of this is done in a way where it's basically already compatible with worker NPCs, since we can apply attributes to NPCs as well. Now it's time to deliver the pizza. Interacting with the table will place a pizza down and remove all the order attributes from you. And the pizza model updates based on what pizza you delivered. The pizza model is actually just a bunch of those pizza gears, and I just update their texture to change it from cheese to pepperoni. Then the customers will eat the pizza for a set amount of time, depending on the rarity of the table, and after they're finished, the pizza will disappear. The customers then leave the restaurant and money will be placed on the table. The amount you get is based on the pizza ordered, as well as a bunch of things like upgrades, rarity of the items used when cooking, and boosts. Interacting with the table again will collect the money. A little fun fact, the money model is actually just old Lego money. I also added this arrow beam which tells you where to go when cooking, so hopefully the infants and fetuses that play Roblox will understand what to do. I'm getting pretty tired of these basic NPCs, so let's give them some swag. I decided that the customers are going to be people from your friends list. So when we spawn an NPC, I pull your friends list from Roblox and randomly pick a friend. Then I get a humanoid description with that friend's user ID and apply it to the NPC. And that's pretty much it. Now all the customers are people from your friends list, like this guy and look at this guy. Wow. Then I added this ×2 luck bar, so every 10 rolls, you'll get a double luck roll. And of course, this is initially locked, but is unlocked with an upgrade. And upgrades can also lower the amount of rolls required. And that is what I managed to get done in 47 days. I've created a Discord for this game and any other things that I have going on, as well as a Twitch, Twitter, and Blue Sky, if people even use that. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all later.